Okay, this is the help video for task 2 of the progression tasks project, and in this task we're going to use this which is the note and rest durations chart. I've been really kind to you because I've filled in much of the chart to begin with, and what's actually really important is you know it's there, and you know as you continue with your other tasks and be able to where things are to go and look things up later. So I'm going to spend a moment just talking you through what this is about, and then I'll show you what you need to do to complete the task. So you'll open it up just within Shobi, and the first thing to draw your attention to is the language that's written down in this first column. So these are the names of durations of periods of time in music. So we have semi-breve, minim, crotchet, quaver, semi-quaver and demi-semi-quaver. And that's language that you must know for your course and you must learn and use as regularly as possible to help you to get some confidence in using that. Then in the next column it says the value. What's the value of each of these different words here, and how many beats it is. Okay, so the first one's written in there for you. It's a 4-beat note. A semi-breve is worth 4 beats. As we go down, I'll fill them in. You might know this already, but if you don't, I'm just going to tell you that a minim is worth 2 beats. As we continue down through the column, a crotchet is worth 1. You might start to see a pattern as we go along here that they're halving each time. So a quaver is worth half the length of a crotchet, and that gives us 1/2. Okay, and as you can see as we carry on down, the semi-quaver is worth 1/4 of a beat, a demi-semi-quaver is worth 1/8 of a beat, and there are a few that are even shorter values than that, but we're not going to cover them just at the moment. Then if you look in this second column, it says note symbol. So when you draw music, when you write music, or when you're reading music, these are the symbols that you'll see that correspond to each of these names of durations. And the reason that I've drawn them kind of, if you like, the right way up and an upside down version is because you're likely to see both in music. Now in the case of a minim, whether you see the stem going up or the stem coming down, it makes no difference whatsoever to the duration, and it makes no difference to the pitch whatsoever. The only thing is it makes it a little bit easier to read on the music. So you'll see if you pick up a piece of sheet music, you'll be able to see that some of them have stems going up and some have stems going down. And we'll learn about when to change that when you write your music later in the course. Now in the third column it says note symbol as they appear in a 1-beat group, because some of these notes are less than a beat in length, so you can put them next to each other and make it look neater. So for example in the quavers here, rather than draw 2 notes that have a dot with a stem and a tail like we've got there, we draw them just like this, where you draw 2 dots, 2 stems, and then you just what we call beam them together like that. So 2 quavers written together to make up 1 whole beat would be written like this. This is what 4 semi-quavers would be written like, and this is what 8 demi-semi-quavers would be written like. And each of those examples adds up to 1 beat. And this is going to be really helpful as you write rhythms in some of the later tasks. Now rests in music in the next column are so important, because rests give us character in our rhythms and in our music. So rests are really important, and actually they're really clever, because even though they make no sound at all, they actually can help us to set how long the silences are between the sounds. So the rests are really important, and it's important that you explore them and experiment using them. And then in the final column I've included this because a lot of the work you're going to do in these tasks is using music software, and you need to understand a little bit about quantization values. If I've given you some values already in there, so if you take for example a crotchet, the shortest length note within a rhythm was a crotchet, so a 1-beat note. You would select 1/4 as the quantization value. That's because if you have a 4/4 bar, then if you imagine it having 4 crotchets, the resolution that you need to tell the software to think about is it needs to be accurate to 1/4, because you're looking at things that are shortest a quarter of a bar. If, for example, you didn't select the quarter and you selected a half, what would happen is all your crotchets would move so that they either started at the start of the bar or halfway through, which are the two minim beats in a 4-beat bar. Okay, so let's move on and see if we can fill in these. You'll notice again there's a pattern, and just like we have a lot of patterns in music, the pattern is similar on this side to what it was here, because it's essentially halving each time. So this time, instead of a quarter for quavers there, it's going to be 1/8. So that's what you would set if your shortest note in your rhythm was a quaver, and if your shortest note was a semiquaver, so if you work this out already while you've been watching, it's a 1/16. Okay, so that's how to fill in those, and that's what all those things mean on this chart that will help us out. And we're going to come back to this quite a lot. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to rub all these values out, because what's important is after you've completed task 1 that you load this up for yourself and fill in those values so that you've interacted with it. Okay.